Warning, this podcast contains a corpse. And spoiler. Thanks for reminding me.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the As Seen on TV podcast for Flash. Oh my god. I almost said the Arrow. For Flash, Season 1, Episode 19. Who is Harrison Wells? Shut up, there's a crossover this episode. I'm your host, Clio, and with me I have Dom, who's offended. Also, green hands. Can you not speak, Dom? Hello? Am I frozen?
No. You told me to shut up!
No. Oh, I did. When did I tell you to shut up?
2 seconds ago?
Oh. Shut up. So, before we talk about anything with this episode of The Flash, I have to make mention that last week's episode of Arrow put some stuff into perspective for The Flash.
Interesting.
On that episode, there was a meta-human that they fought, and he was not in Central City when the reactor exploded.
Oh.
So.
Huh.
That gives us a little bit of a look ahead that we're going to be seeing more meta-humans who had nothing to do with the reactor.
Interesting. Huh.
How he got his powers, they
didn't explain it yet.
Didn't look into, no. Because honestly, in that episode, there was so much going on character-wise that the villain didn't get enough attention.
Mm-hmm.
So, by the time I sat down to do the podcast, I didn't remember even hearing his name said.
Yeah.
He didn't have a nickname, you know.
I mean, I don't exactly know what's going on in Arrow because I'm not watching it. I'm strictly watching The Flash. But I feel like I do, just based on what Flash has been talking about. They've talked about how Ollie's joined the League of Shadows, and then I've seen the previews and stuff, what they do. They, obviously they're going to show Arrow commercials and stuff during The Flash. And so I see stuff of Ollie where it seems like he's in some kind of secret cult kind of thing right now, and so I don't exactly know what's going on, but I have a general idea. And I just saw him lowering some girl into water or something.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But
yeah, that's important. That's important.
It seems like it's gonna be, and then I knew the Black Canary is on that show. So
yeah.
When they introduced her on this show, I was just like, oh, Cleo's gonna be squeeing with joy right now.
I lost my mind at that scene. 75% because of Cisco, 25% because of Laurel.
Yeah, and it was really interesting the way she was fixing this device that she had and changing it around, and it kind of turned into almost like a collar. I don't know exactly what it was, but it looked like it was a collar. And then if the name,
break it down.
You're lagging a little bit, but yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. Oh, well, the Canary in the comics has a supersonic voice. Mm-hmm. It's her power. She's got a legit power. So in the show Arrow, she uses these little sound discs. She'll throw them and they go.
Okay.
Sound.
Right.
So she wanted to upgrade the tech, and so he gave her a voice collar.
Sweet. Yeah, and then he named it for her, gave it the Cisco Ramon kind of nickname.
The Canary
gadget.
Cry.
Yeah, and she's like, oh, I like that. So.
He's good at naming things.
He is, and that photo. Nice. That photo.
Oh god, I loved it so much.
If you show anyone.
Photo.
Yeah, if you show anyone, you're dead.
You're joking, right? No. You're dead. I'll kill you.
Yeah, that whole scene was great.
It's perfect. Yeah, so let's start off with the cross-country pizza run.
Yeah, that was...
Barry essentially ran, to Portland to get pizza.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. I actually expected a lot more resentment out of Eddie, based on what's been going on, and he actually seemed pretty okay with everything, and he was like all gung-ho, and they're sitting around like brainstorming about Dr. Wells. Barry runs in with pizza. I don't know how that pizza wasn't ice cold.
Yeah, I don't know, because
I don't care how fast you run.
Right.
The wind is gonna cool that pizza down.
And Coast City is on the West Coast, so
Right.
He ran a freaking long way just to get pizza. Also, that's where Green Lantern is located.
Oh, really?
Although Green Lantern is probably not Green Lantern yet.
Right. Does he eat at Coast Pizza?
That's a good question. I would assume so. Just like everybody eats a Big Belly burger in Central City.
Right.
But yeah, that whole scene was really interesting because you're right. Eddie was pretty on board. I think with Harrison Wells, I looked over at the wiki for help, but it actually has Wells' name as Eobard Thawne. So I was like, that's not right.
Yeah.
When it comes to Wells, Eddie doesn't feel like that is necessarily a blatant lie to Iris. He doesn't have to constantly lie about that.
Right.
So him thinking of it as we're going to take down a bad guy is probably why he's on board.
Yeah, no, I know he's still on board, but I'm trying to look at it in my perspective. If I'm with this girl who clearly this other guy has feelings for, and you've run into multiple instances where, like, you've had to deal with issues because of it, and then you learn that he is, like, has this crazy secret that brings him forcefully into your circle of trust, and then that is causing a rift between your relationship, I would go out of my mind with anger toward him.
Yeah.
So I don't know how Eddie's able to keep that together.
He's a pretty upstanding guy.
He is. I gotta give him that much credit. He's a better man in me in that regard.
Yeah. But it seems like Eddie's the person who will put aside stuff for the greater good.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, that pile of things on the side is going to get too big.
Yeah, it's already starting to.
Yeah. So I really want to talk about Caitlin. Okay. Caitlin's part in this episode.
I mean, she did smooch with Barry for a little bit.
Oh my God! Barry, not Barry.
Barry, not Barry. Hashtag Barry, not Barry.
She was so confused.
She was, and she was also liking it.
I don't know.
If she didn't like it, she would have pushed away. She went in for more.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
because there's the subliminal seed of that, because this isn't the first we've seen of them having like this flirtatious relationship. Don't forget about karaoke night. Granted, she was drunk. I
remember.
So there is a little something there.
But that was when she still thought her fiance was dead.
Right.
He's not dead anymore. So maybe things have changed for her. Because she's like, no. When, like, they pull back, she's like,
Yeah,
so,
could be.
I don't know. I wonder if she's gonna say it to Barry.
That's gonna be interesting, because, I mean, the stuff with Iris, like, we've already seen it play out in Barry's favor, and then time travel came and got involved and things, and then it's not in Barry's favor, and then it seemed like it was starting to shift back into Barry's favor with Eddie getting, I don't know, bombarded with things, whatever. But now, by the end of this episode, it seems like they've resolved a lot of that, so it doesn't seem like Eddie and Iris are going to be breaking up anytime soon.
Yeah.
So if
I
that's the
mean,
case, could Caitlin and Barry have a little thing on the side? I don't see why not. Would it complicate things and change their dynamic forever? Probably.
it's not just going to change their dynamic. It's going to change her and half of Firestorm's dynamic.
Right.
God, what even is her fiance's name? Oops, I
Firestorm.
forgot.
She's Killer Frost, he's
Ronnie.
Firestorm.
Ronnie. There
Yes.
it is. This is up in the brain somewhere. Yeah, that'll change her and Ronnie's relationship. If she cheats, she'll be cheating on him. It's fucked up.
Are they still together, though?
They had heartfelt smoochy goodbyes.
Yeah, but that's a goodbye.
But it was like, I'm going on a business trip, honey. You know?
Yeah.
It wasn't like, I'm leaving you forever.
Yeah, I guess. It's
you can paint it whatever shade you want. It's still cheating. It would still be cheating.
I guess, yeah. I totally forgot that he was still around.
Hopefully Caitlin doesn't. For everyone's sake, please.
Mm-hmm.
But the interesting, I honestly, when I mentioned Caitlin's part in this episode being interesting, I did not even mean that part of it.
I know,
I meant her struggling with accepting that Wells could be less than what he is.
Well, she's struggling with what I mentioned, and yeah, she's struggling with that as well. Like, she's just full of struggles this episode.
Well, she's struggling with Wells first.
Yeah.
That happens first.
Yep. Well, it makes sense. Like, I'm glad to see somebody on the core team having this internal struggle, because everybody else was so quick to accept it. And us knowing, because we've known before the team is known, so for us knowing, we came to terms with it a lot faster. We were even speculating way before they were dropping blatant hints on us. And just to have somebody not in the know have some reasonable doubt seems 100% likely, and I'm glad that they went that route.
Yeah, and she's also the only one who has had this dropped on her immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Cisco, Joe told him 5-6 episodes.
Yeah.
Ago that there was something fishy with Wells. Also having visions of getting killed by Wells. It's not just dreams, it's visions. And I'm lagging. How much of that did you get? Did you get any of it?
You just sounded like you went into fast forward mode for a second there.
Awesome.
I just heard like all at once. I was like, the hell?
So Cisco not only got told that there was something fishy with Wells 6 episodes ago by Joe, but he's also having visions of being killed by Wells.
Yeah, he's having that bleed through.
It's not just dreams, visions.
The time bleed, and I don't... That is legit the only thing that is hurting my brain right now.
When that happened, I was literally sitting on the couch like, I didn't see this coming!
Yeah, like, we had that one episode, it was like 3 episodes ago, where I walked out of that, I had a migraine for like 2 days. Mm-hmm. And it carried over into the next night, and oh my god, it was like sitting behind my eyeball. It legit, like, this awful migraine. And then it was like the week after, and we talked about it, and we resolved it, and everything made sense, and we were all good and happy. And then the next episode after that, it's just like, what? Bleeding? How are the timelines bleeding through? How is he remembering, like, something that he didn't even experience? Like, I don't...
Well, and
Lee Silver in chat is saying, Cleo, it's okay if you go into fast forward mode. This is the Flash after all, so...
Oh, I'm just keeping it in character.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
We could actually, when we made sense of this time travel, when we were like, yeah, this makes sense, this is what it is, we could be wrong.
Correct.
This might not be splitting universes, this might be overwriting a piece of the timeline. So, like, this is still the same timeline, but he's just overwritten it.
Yeah.
in certain places. So it could be like that, and that's why it's bleeding through, because it's like a VHS that's been taped over and over and over again.
Yeah, I mean
The more it happens, the more wear there is.
that's very similar to the Back to the Future style terms of time travel.
Yeah, so maybe I was wrong. I was arguing against Back to the Future. Maybe it is more like Back to the Future.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna. The next couple of episodes might not even answer it.
Yeah, it's like in Back to the Future where like he's holding up, he's got like sheet of paper, and they're like looking at it and they're reading it, and then something changes in the time and it's just like, what? Why is it a different page now? So
yeah.
Like they're aware and conscious because they're the ones that changed it and they're watching it change in front of them. But then when I know in Back to the Future when they had Jennifer and she's like, oh, but Jennifer's here and we're leaving without her, and he's like, don't worry, time will transform around her and her memories, and like so. Yeah, it seems right now, if that is what's going on, it's very Back to the Future. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're just gonna have to wait and see. We might not even get episodes. Oh, we might not even get answers anytime soon.
I don't think we're gonna get answers until at least next season. We're definitely gonna get answers next season because we already know that the Flash Arrow crossover spinoff is going to involve heavy amounts of time travel.
Yeah.
So
Cisco and Joe's adventures in Starling City.
Mm-hmm.
I actually recently started doing more stuff on Tumblr, and I was reposting a bunch of stuff about Cisco and Joe, and I'm like, I would seriously watch an entire show about the two of them. It can have no plot, it can just be them dicking around, and I would watch the hell out of that show because their dynamic is awesome.
Their dynamic is awesome, but I feel like they're too much of where they're on the same page. They're too much of the two sides of the same coin. Not opposite sides of the coin or whatever. They're the same side of the same coin. So I feel like you would need a third character that is a polar opposite. Like Caitlin. To
I guess so.
To balance that out to make it entertaining, but because the detective, which I'm sure he's
Lance.
Someone from Arrow.
Yes, he
but
has a big part in Arrow.
He was that factor, and that's what made that dynamic more interesting.
Yeah.
So.
Because Cisco and Joe are on like the same comedy funny angle. They're on different smartness levels. Like Joe's got the everyman sort of top brain, and then Cisco's got the tech gadgets. Look at what I can do.
Right.
Brain, so
yeah. No.
I just really like how they're awesome together.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get that. I do like their dynamic. They do have areas that they specialize in where they're better than each other. They're not the same exact person, but their personality traits are too similar.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
But speaking of Captain Lance, Joe and Lance had a lot of talk about lying and daughters and stuff. So the whole thing with Captain Lance is that Laurel, who's his daughter, lied to him about something really big to try to protect him.
Like the fact that she's Black Canary?
No.
Okay.
That's not what it's. Yeah, I can't. Spoilers.
Okay.
Arrow spoilers.
Okay.
But safe to say, it's bigger than her being the Black Canary.
Wow. Okay. So
she lied about something super major. And
can I guess it has something to do with Ollie?
No.
Okay.
You can guess. It's not
okay.
right. So when the truth came out, Lance couldn't forgive her.
Okay.
And so it's kind of the opposite with Joe, how he's lying to his daughter. And I liked how Lance, about forgiveness, kind of looked like it softened Lance up a bit. So that's going to come up in the next Arrow episodes. But what I was disappointed in is that Lance's talk about feeling betrayed to Joe didn't affect Joe at all. It seemed like Joe was still perfectly cool with lying to Iris.
Yeah.
I feel like there should have been some
Resolve at it, yeah.
something that triggered in Joe, like, maybe I shouldn't lie to my daughter.
Well,
but there
I
was none
mean,
of that.
Eddie wasn't even there for that, and it triggered in Eddie, so.
Yeah.
I mean, Eddie does come out at the end and goes, look, the reason I've been so distant is I've been working with the Flash, and, you know, Barry's looking on like, what are you doing? I didn't tell you to do that.
But that's a perfect middle ground of keeping Barry's secret and telling the truth.
Yep. Yeah.
So, I think Barry's got it. It's not going to be Joe. Joe seems to be extraordinarily stubborn about this. It's going to have to be Barry that comes to Iris and is like, yo, I'm the Flash. I've been lying to you this whole time. And Iris is going to go, fuck you. I'm leaving.
He's already done it once.
Yeah.
But that's when the city was in danger. Yeah.
Yeah. I think if he comes out to her as the Flash, it's going to be completely different circumstances. He's going to expect her to be totally cool with it, and she's going to be like, go to hell.
Yeah, pretty much. Unless he does it during an actual disaster again, then, you know.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't see them repeating it. They're gonna do the reveal differently, and it's gonna be in a more isolated, secluded, personal kind of way, and she's not gonna go for it.
Yeah, it's not gonna be good. So the meta of the week is Hannibal. Did you expect him to be a mix between Hannibal and Norman Bates?
That was really cool that his name was Hannibal Bates. Yeah, I did catch that. I was not expecting it, but yeah, it was really cool, and I liked. Was it? I think it was. It was Caitlin actually that named him Everyman.
Oh.
It wasn't even Cisco.
Yeah, because she said Everyman, and then she looked at Barry and said, you know, I don't like it. Is that dumb? And he's like, no, I kind of like it.
Yeah, because
I thought that was really great.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it, and that was actually, I was worried for a minute. I was like, is he gonna gain Barry's powers? You know, like.
Yeah.
I didn't know for sure.
Yeah, we all were worried about that.
Actually,
like,
as I was watching it, so the first thing when they first mentioned that, Wells was like, I was like, oh wow, that would suck. But then the more I thought about it, I was like, that can't happen. I go, realistically, because it would overwrite that Meta's abilities, and then he would never be able to metamorphosize out of that form if he took Barry's powers, because it's changing his DNA structure, and he would now become the Flash indefinitely. Humans it might work on, because he's just changing their physical appearance, but if he's taking Barry's whole DNA structure and copying that, then he's no longer has the DNA structure to metamorphose anymore.
I feel like that at least the theory that Wells had put out there was, if he can take somebody's face through their DNA, maybe he can take.
Yeah.
Like, he takes clothing too. It's like.
Yeah, that's really weird.
Yeah, that was weird. And I expected
that
him
was
to have
done
to touch
just
that
for
girl's face, but he touched her arm through her jacket and did it too. And I was like, that doesn't seem like it should work.
I'm pretty sure if this was a real thing, that would not function that way.
Yeah, probably.
But you know, they did it for the illusion of television and to make things a little more dramatic, because. If the guy's walking around, for example, in an orange jumpsuit and then just starts switching faces, you're still wearing an orange jumpsuit. You're going to stand out. You know?
Switching faces. That's really funny. I would like to see that.
Did you want a high five or something?
No, I mashed potatoed the camera.
You want a high five?
No, mashed potato.
Okay.
Like that. When you run your hand along somebody's face, it's mashed potato. Anyway, something I didn't think about, but he was Hannibal had taken like the form of his grandma. Was it his grandma or?
Yeah, well, we don't know for sure if it was his grandmother, but. Yeah. Played his grandmother.
Yeah. Oh, no, it wasn't. I mean, that wasn't his grandma because he, ran and they saw him running as the grandma.
No, I know, but it took a form of an elderly person. We don't know for sure if it was the grandmother. It could have just been some random elderly person.
That's true. But like after the episode, I was like, was his grandma dead in the basement? Is this a Psycho?
Could have been
storyline right here.
Could have been. I mean, it would fit with the Hannibal Bates motif that they were running there.
Norman Bates, yeah. I just loved when Eddie and Barry sat down on the tiny love seat together. It's like, we don't fit. We don't fit.
I mean, that was great, but there was clearly some room that they could have moved away that they didn't. They did it obviously for the TV gag, but Barry had a good 2 inches to his left that he could have moved to, and same with, I think Eddie was actually sitting at the edge, but Barry definitely could have gone over 2 inches, and they would have been fine. It's not like their legs were even touching.
Was it Supernatural that did a similar gag recently? I know there was a show that did a similar gag recently.
I don't recall.
I can't remember. It is quite the funny gag. But, yeah, I mean, Eddie and Barry really, teamed up this week, because, I mean, they didn't have Joe out there with them.
Yeah, it really surprised me. I was not expecting that, Eddie. I was expecting a lot of resentment.
They did they make a really good team. Eddie's such a good sport about everything. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, and he just
even Eddie gets framed for murder in a way that looks like there's no way out of it. He's still you know what? It's cool. Just do your thing.
He's still no, Barry, put me back.
I mean, we're not cheating. Realistically, he would have been in a shit more trouble
if he ran.
Leaving. You know, even if he's later proven innocent. It's still, that does not look good.
Yeah, he still fled custody and whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Man, I don't know what's going to happen with them in the future, because it does seem like Iris went back to Eddie. So.
Yeah.
I am not sure.
I loved when every man goes into S.T.A.R Labs. Right, and then Wells tases every man. They capture him, and they're driving back in the car, and every man turns into a child.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that was brilliant.
Oh my god. Because, what are you gonna fucking do? There's a child in your backseat who is screaming.
Handcuffed, nonetheless.
Exactly. That was just an oh god. Oh god moment. What is that?
That was brilliant of every man. Just saying.
I mean, he's really smart.
He's
proven, except for the fact that when he was first running away from Barry, he could have easily rounded the corner and then taken another form, and Barry would have never known what his power was.
Yeah. There's that. And the fact that after he was caught, he's switching faces to people he knows and is get me out of here. Really? Who's that going to work on?
I don't know. I think he likes showing off, too. He seems like the kind of person who likes showing off.
Yeah, I mean, it was that final form he had was kind of creepy.
Oh, yes.
The blank face.
Yeah, because, I mean, he couldn't remember his own face.
Yeah. So that goes to say, is it more of a memory kind of thing? Can he just, look at somebody and do that? Or does he physically have to touch them? Because Wells was under the impression he had to touch them.
Yeah, he does have to touch them. But... I don't know if you remember Animorphs.
I do, actually.
So I think they had to touch the animals, too, to turn into them. But they had to remember. They had to remember what the animal and then the opposite, they had to remember what they looked like to put themselves back. So I think it works like that.
You know what the funny thing is? You mentioned Animorphs, and I just randomly, this is how my memory works, just randomly had a flashback memory of an episode of Animorphs where they're going to investigate some guy, and they're chasing him down, and they go into a fast food restaurant, and there's a hidden room in the back, and they had to go to the front counter, and the password was, I'd like a cheeseburger without cheese, and they walked into the back room, and it was I was Cleo, I can't even tell you. It's been 15, 20 years since I've seen an episode of Animorphs, and I remember it like it was yesterday.
Me and my friend, we use that line all the time. Cheeseburger, hold the cheese. We would say that all the time.
Yeah.
Don't understand.
That's just how my brain works, though.
I remember it too.
Yeah.
That is way too funny.
But you had like a thing with it. Like you had like a friend and you had like an inside joke, with it. Me, I just watched the episode. And here's the thing. I'd never watched Animorphs as like a regular thing. I think I've legit only seen one episode, and I think it was that one.
You're crazy.
So.
Anyway, cheeseburger, hold the cheese. I don't even remember what we were talking about. The last thing that happens this episode is that they find
Eobards.
I was expecting Gideon to come on and start talking to them.
Yeah.
Like lockdown mode or something.
I was waiting for Wells to like roll into the room.
Word.
Or like the light beam that they walk through, which is just, I think, lighting that's on the wall. I thought that was like a security system or something.
I mean, it is probably like a, hey, someone's walked in, let's turn the lights on.
Yeah.
This is after they all walk.
Yeah, I was just waiting for the place to go into like lockdown mode or
lasers. The lights came on.
Yeah, it was something.
Yeah, but now Barry's read that. He's read that headline. Barry knows his future.
He does.
Dangerous.
Dangerous. Now they know, it's not only that, but between the corpse that they found, between the suit that they found, between the paper that they found, there's no shadow of a doubt that they know that Wells is the Reverse Flash.
Yeah. And I'm surprised because I thought that they would figure out that he's the Reverse Flash before they figured out he wasn't Harrison Wells. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It kind of happened all at the same time.
Yeah. Now they know he's not.
Yep.
Harrison Wells, which did surprise me. I was like, wow, that was quickly. Figured all that off quickly. I just loved that scene where they're all just like open, like gaped mouths, staring at the room.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I just like I want to watch the rest of the season right now. It's like I can't even like brain anymore.
I know. I need it every week when it comes to the shows and stuff when we watch them. Flash is the one that I look forward to more than anything.
Yeah. Well,
it's absolutely insane. Like I have to watch it immediately.
Yeah. It is definitely my favorite. But ever since Cisco died the first time, I've been very nervous.
I'm pretty sure you're a cyborg. I'm convinced you're a cyborg.
Myself. Cyborg. Watch out. They're the worst kind.
Yes. I don't exactly know what just happened there.
Flash, just called The Trap. Barry, Caitlin, Cisco, and Joe. What?
What? Wow. You just lagged so bad. I don't even know what just happened.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Good.
I'm pretty
Next
sure
week's episode is The Trap.
Pretty sure you're a robot.
I thought you said you could hear me. Can you hear me, or am I a robot?
No, I can hear you now, but I'm pretty sure you're a robot and you're short-circuiting, malfunctioning, and I think after this podcast you need to go recharge your battery.
I do. I really do. And I'm gonna as soon as we're done. Next episode of The Flash is called The Trap. Barry, Caitlin, Cisco, and Joe set a trap for Wells. Cisco uses himself as prey, which puts him in grave danger. No, Cisco! Ah!
He's gonna die.
He's, fucking hell. No, I can't. Not again. No, stop that. Don't do that. Don't fucking do that to me. Meanwhile, Eddie makes a decision regarding Iris, which leaves Joe in a bit unsettled. I think he's gonna propose.
Ooh. Should be interesting.
Yeah.
I do know that it was. I read an article on IGN, and they said the potential title of the spinoff coming next season is called Legends, which was a very short series in the Flash comic reveals, whatever, like the comic runs.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm down. But Dom, you're gonna be really excited. Do you know what the name of the episode after the trap is called?
I do. It's called Grodd Lives. I saw it on my DVR. I'm very excited. I'm beyond excited.
Oh yeah. So. I know. I can't wait to see more Grodd. Hear him really talk.
I mean, with this show is not Gotham, where they put the title of a villain in the title and then don't show them. So we're gonna see a lot of Grodd.
To be fair, that hasn't happened in a while for
That's
Gotham.
true too.
All right. So Dom, where can the people find you?
You can find me down below at Phenomedom, PHENOMEDOM.
Phenomedom. You can find me at Cleomoto on the socials, and you can find me on Twitch at the Cleomoto, and you can find all of us at ASOTV Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Gmail, Google+, Space, and right here on YouTube. Follow us for more podcasts from some of your favorite TV shows. Until next week, bye-bye.
See you guys later. You didn't even need to cough because you happened to robot at the word MySpace. So,
perfect.
Yeah.